Welcome. In front of me I have the newly released HUAWEI Pura 80 Pro, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, build quality, what it offers, and how much it costs, which the last one will be the most ridiculous one. So let's get to it. Now, start off obviously with the unboxing. Looks like I won't need a knife. There we go. Now, camera probably doesn't show this off in a best way, but holy crap, it looks like I have a literal brick in here. What the shit is this? What in the hell is this? It's a tumor on a phone. That is insane. Okay, well, that's it's definitely gonna rock that device from side to side. And before I even get into anything, I do want to point out this phone gives me a very heavy vibe of like the older iPhones, which had a rounded design. I don't remember which one it was, to be completely honest, but definitely not the new ones. Now, inside here we get the typical app gallery, phone clone kind of thing when app gallery doesn't have some applications, and then we get our energy sticker rating. So this device apparently will last for about 41 hours in terms of however they're counting it. We have a plastic hard case included with the device. I do like to see those. It's also a little bit frosted right here. As you can see, it's not completely clear. Now, below that we have a cable, Type C to Type C. So both of them are Type C, cool. Cable and no charger. So it just seems like a waste of paper to give you this big of a box and then not give you the fucking charger in a box. Great. Especially considering how retardedly expensive this device is. And that's an understatement. Now, I do want to point out, I don't think this is very representative. GSM Arena states that this device costs about 800 euros. Now, where I'm from, that is wildly inaccurate. And I am in Europe, by the way, which maybe I don't use euros in here, but we do know what converting is. So, anyway, here's our device. Now, the screen right here is actually one of the good parts of this, and probably the cameras, which I haven't gotten to, but let's start off with the display. That's a 6.8 inches in size, LTPO OLED display, 1 billion colors, HDR vivid, 120 Hz refresh rate, 1440 Hz pull rate, which means that the device screen is super snappy. It should follow your finger pretty accurately, minus the bullshit trash UI that they have right here that just has this delay to it for the wobbly effect, which just makes it feel atrocious. But in general, the display should have a pretty good response. And we also have 3000 nits of peak brightness, 89.7% screen to body ratio, 459 pixels per inch, Kunlun Glass 2, MASH level 4, and that's about everything for the display. Now, for everyone that is now scratching their head thinking, why are their furniture floating, from me speaking weird crap, to say it kind of simply, the screen right here is actually pretty good. So this is going to be one of the standout features. It is basically top-notch display, and I do want to give it props. Now, if we flip over to the cameras, HUAWEI has been really pushing their phones into, well, the camera territory to basically be as good as possible. And in here, we have 50 megapixel 1.6 to 4.0 aperture sensor, which I'm pretty confident is this one. As if I can just get the light to shine a little bit better and maybe bring it a little bit closer. not sure if this is going to be visible, but this is a variable aperture right here. So this grayish kind of thing around the glass right there is actually going to open up and close, which is good, or for photos, it basically defines how much light can enter the sensor right here. There's another device that I know that had this, which was the Nubia Z70 Ultra, which I actually owned at one point. So that was also a great phone for camera. This one though has, by the size of it, probably a little bit better, also being newer ones, and Huawei pushing into the cameras, it's the only thing that I guess they can produce. So yeah, they're trying to do good cameras, clearly, considering it's literally half the thickness of the device. So that's the main sensor. Now next one is the 48 megapixel 2.1 aperture 93mm telephoto. So that's this one right here. And then we got a 40 megapixel 2.0 aperture 13mm ultra wide, the top one. So with those cameras you can do 4K 1080p, and 1080p goes up to 960 frames, though 4K isn't mentioned for some reason. So you know what? Why not go to the setup and figure it out? If GSM Arena won't let me know, I sure as hell will figure it out myself. Let's go English. Oh right, because it's China. Winnie the Pooh wants my data, and my location, and my internet. Now, I thought that the idea of a setup is so I can absolutely effing set it up the way I want to, not how Winnie the Pooh wants me to set it up. Go screw yourself. Jesus, I fucking hate this crap. Now, luckily, this is the only thing that I will be forced to do, which is connect to network, which, being said, it's literally basically forcing me to, from the box, be spied on, but at least I can set up the rest of the device the way I want to. Now, in terms of the Huawei, we can actually skip this. I don't have an account, and maybe later. Leave. No thanks. Later. 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 Update manually. Don't enable. And I'm gonna finish it up. Okay. So let's pop the camera open. Yes, cool. Enable while using. Agree. And now we have our camera open. Let's go to video. So 1080p 30, 1080p 60, 30. Wow. So actually, we don't even get 120 here. Okay, great. That's still 1080. Just ultra wide. 720, 4K. Okay, 4K 60. So we do have 4K 60 in here. That's decent. And wow, we do have some. We have some absolutely serious bokeh in here. Holy crap! Here's just a little bit of a sneak peek. No one told you to update. Piss off. There we go. There is some massive bokeh happening in here, and looking at it, it's doing it pretty good. I don't think this is a real bokeh, obviously. The subject, whatever is behind the background, isn't far enough for this strong of a depth effect, like holy hell. So this is all fake, I'm pretty sure, but if we zoom in, you can see that it is doing it really good. Now let's see the motion. There is a little bit of a fuzziness happening at the very end, but I literally need to be like zoomed the hell in to even be able to spot this. So in terms of that, it's pretty good. Color, a little bit darker image than what I have right here. Don't look at what you see on the camera. The camera itself that I'm recording is not the best. So how I see this on the screen is a little bit different actually. But me looking at these two in person, this has a little bit of a darker tone to it in general. So the image is a bit darker, as in the green, while, for instance, the background where the keyboard is, this keyboard in reality is a bit darker compared to how the phone sees it, where it's a bit lighter in tone. So it's kind of weird that some things here are darker compared to the background, which is lighter, where in reality it's literally opposite of it. Now, I'm not really going to be going through, you know, camera tests and whatever. I just wanted to just see what the refresh rates here are for video recording and how just it looks like at least at the base kind of entry, you know. So let's move over to the Selfie, which I haven't talked about yet. And the Selfie right here is a measly 13 megapixel f2.0 aperture ultra wide that does also 4K 60 and or actually I don't know if it does 60. Let's quickly check that, as it's again not labeled. Flip. Oh, yep, 4K 60. You can see it right there. Okay, so Selfie does 4K 60 as well. That's pretty good. Now, let's move over to the internals now, which that's where the phone kind of starts to fall apart, at least for me. So, inside of this device, we have cost cuttings. Number one, we have a bit of a smaller battery compared to what you would expect from a Chinese phone at 5,170 milliamp hours. Now, the reason I'm saying smaller than what you would expect is because let's just say that you're looking at something like the Xiaomi 15T Pro. That's not even like the China. So this device already has a bigger battery. And it's for European market, and it's kind of like a cut down version. Now, Xiaomi did announce a newer phone, which isn't being sold globally yet, and that was the Xiaomi, what is it, Xiaomi 17? Yep, 17 Pro Max, there we go. So let's just look at the cream of the crop right there, 17 Pro Max. Now, the Pro Max has 7,500 milliamp hour battery, and that being said, I can't really say the price of it because it's not released, so there isn't really much info how much it's going to cost right here. But again, on GSM Arena they're saying that it's going to be 720 euros. It's a Xiaomi phone, so I wouldn't really put it past them. That is a very high possibility that this is close to what it will cost, which also means that it's cheaper than this device. Now, the device also has triple 50 megapixels, though it doesn't have a variable aperture like this one does. So it does have a little bit of an up on the quality right here of the with a variable aperture, but in terms of battery, come on. You have one job, Huawei, and that is to put a decent battery in your Chinese phone. And you decided to what? Cut costs while charging astronomical price for the device. Are you high? Put the crack pipe down there. Jeez. Now, at least, although we do have shitty battery, the charging for this is absolutely outstanding. So this device can be charged up to 100 watts, which is just insane. And even more insane is the wireless charging speed right here. 80 watts. Now I want to point this out. So in terms of, this device kind of competes with flagships. In terms of price, like it competes with the top of the shelf. And at least in the charging department, it absolutely smashes anything like Apple and Samsung. Like Samsung wired cannot even charge this fast, like nowhere near this fast. We're talking about with the cable, it approaches half of the wireless charging speed. And that is even further if you have something like me, the S25, the little, brokey boy phone. That garbage can charge up to 25 watts with the cable. God forbid I ever wanted to charge my phone fast. I mean, Samsung might not want me to because it could explode, like every Samsung battery does apparently. Here, if you compare that, that is like what, a third of the speed of this device's wireless charging, and even further, it's nearly 1/4, actually not nearly, it is over 1/4 with a cable. So yeah, that is a massive charging like speed right here that Huawei has. The only sad part is this battery being only 5,170 instead of like 7,500, like I would have expected it, especially at this price. Now, if we move over to the internals, even though GSM Marina doesn't mention it, I did check it, and this device is running the godforsaken Kirin 9020 processor. So that's where the device starts to absolutely fall apart for me. But I'm going to go back to this in a moment. Let's finish up with the internals. We don't have expandable storage. We do have, at the bare minimum, 256 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. But you can get this up to 1 terabyte with the same amount of RAM. So that's pretty okay. Now, I don't know why Huawei didn't give expandable storage. For God's sakes, they have their own proprietary storage called nano memory. So they could have do dual SIM and have one SIM as a nano memory, as that was the point of this technology from beginning. So it baffles me why they didn't do that right here. And just to actually double check this, bring up my SIM eject tool, pop out the tray. So here we have SIM 1. Come on, here we go, SIM 1. Flip it over, we got absolutely nothing written right here, which I can only presume it's only SIM 2. Now, I don't have a nano memory to check if this will detect it, but GSM Marina states that there is no expandable storage or card slot. This could be maybe only referring to SD card slot, I'm not sure. But in any case, it doesn't really state if it's nano memory or not. Before, I know for a fact something like the Mate 20 Pro, which I owned, did have marking NM for nano memory and also SIM card. So I did know which tray could be used as expansion. So 12 gigs of RAM, up to 1 terabyte of storage, and the Kirin 9020 processor. Now, for people that don't know what that entails, it basically entails a, let's say, 40% slower processor based on nanoreview.net. So CPU performance, we're looking at about 57 to 99 of the 8 Elite. Then we have even lower. Wow, that's less than half in terms of gaming performance. So you sure as shit won't be gaming on this phone, considering it's literally less than half performance of the actual 8 Elite. Battery life is actually pretty close, 81 to 93. And nano review score, if that matters to you, the 8 Elite gets a 98 versus 59, which I would say probably pretty good assumption if this is correct. Now, for actual benchmarking, let's take a look at Antutu 10. And yeah, let's just say that the Snapdragon 8 Elite is more than twice as fast, getting 118% gain over this here. I also want to point out that the Snapdragon 8 Elite has been out for over a year, or maybe not over, but close to a year, and comes in phones like, for instance, the Samsung that I have mentioned before. So all the S25 lineup have that, and they had it for over a half a year now. And those devices still, where I'm from, cost less than this. Brand new. So, in terms of performance, this device is just absolutely getting clobbered by the 8 Elite. And just to kind of give you other benchmarks, like Geekbench 6. Yeah, it's actually getting absolutely shit on even harder. So, single core, we get 143% increase. So, 2.5 times faster processor. Great. And multi-core, 112%. So, just 2 times faster processor. Compute scoring, oh boy. So GPU, yeah, 449% faster. That is still Geekbench 6. Now, just to give that in numbers, what the scoring was, it was 24,141 points versus the Kirin 9020, 4,400. That is absolutely insulting. For a processor to be this shit, and obviously that is, I guess, to be expected, considering this device is hasn't really been able to produce processors, so they're forced to utilize their own processors and also produce them, which I don't think they really can. So these are pretty old, I'm pretty sure. So I do want to double check it. I do want to just be absolutely certain, as there is not much info, but stores do claim that this is the processor in here. So I have no reason to believe that a store that sells these devices would have wrong information. And the reason I'm just kind of trying to double check this is because the price that they're charging for this to how it performs in terms of processor is very incongruent with what you would expect. This performs shittier than a mid-range device in terms of single and multi-end gaming scores. So it's really just comical that Huawei wants to charge you this absorbent amount of money. So you might be wondering what that price tag is. GSM Arena claims that it's 800 euros. Now, the reality, where I'm from, stores want 6,000 PLN. Now, let's just quickly do a back check. So 6,000 PLN to USD. That equates to $1,600. And that would be close to also euros. Maybe not necessarily the same, but let's see. So in terms of euros, that is 1,400 euros. That is nearly double of what GSM Arena claims. And this is the reality of what the phone is actually being sold at right here. So basically $1,600 for phone that acts as a mid-range phone with just good cameras. Shit, you can get almost everything that is in here apart from the charging speed and the cameras at $200. And I shit you not. Basically what you get is a CMF Phone 2 Pro. It still has decent cameras, obviously. They won't compare to what we have right here. I do want to give credit where credit is due, but I can guarantee you this ain't worth $1,600. It's not that good, and the only good part here would be the cameras, and the cameras are still decent in other devices. Again, maybe not as good as here, but those devices cost 1,000, not 1,600. And they will also be faster in terms of processing power, and have just generally better support. So if you're in anywhere else in the world outside of maybe China, I would never recommend this device. You're kind of limiting the usability of it, as you're not going to be getting Play services, so no Maps, no Google, no Gmail, no YouTube, and literally everything that starts with Google, basically non-existent right here. And you're getting a slow device, and the only benefit here is the cameras at a moronically high price. You can do better by, for instance, getting something like the mentioned before Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, which should have pretty decent cameras, have definitely better processor, and that processor will be actually at the next generation, meaning that it's even going to be faster than what I already told you was an embarrassment to this device, while having, like I said, decent cameras. The device isn't out, so I can't really vouch for how decent. And still bigger, way bigger battery that charges nearly at the same speeds, just wireless a little bit slower. So that's one option. Another one, if you don't care for the cameras, obviously this device just completely doesn't make sense to pick up at the price, and you can look for other devices. Shit, you can get iPhone, or actually no, you can get yourself 2 iPhones. Why limit yourself? I mean, if you have $1,600 to spend, just get yourself 2 iPhones. You can give your one of them to your mom. And I can guarantee you the cameras there on paper might not be the best, but Apple does literally try to make their cameras be the best looking thing that they possibly can, because that's literally what sells these devices. Every chick on the market can just, you know, have the best looking selfies and stuff and photos that, you know, are Instagram worthy. So that device will literally cater to them, and therefore it will be paper wise not as good. Realistically, it will be pretty freaking close to what we have right here. So at the end of the day, at that point, it's more of a preference choice, which color, saturation, and brightness you like. But hey, you get 2 iPhones instead of 1. So that I would say that's a benefit. So that basically sums it up. If you're anywhere in the world, don't buy this device, as it's not very worth it. If you're in China and you have some limitations, and this device might be cheaper there. If it's cheaper, again, it doesn't really change it, because even at 800 euros, if that is a correct price tag, the processor in here is stupidly outdated, and I would prefer to have one iPhone over this one. So that's just my personal preference. And I'm saying that as a person that doesn't really like iPhones anyway. So that about sums this up. Now, if you found this video helpful, informative, keki, don't forget to smash like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.